Hi, this is Zach here with the Bulletin Board Heroes here at Zach's Traders Cafe for Wednesday, the 2nd of July. Starting off with the FTSE 100, which is still trying to make its efforts to get, to clear 8800 convincingly. Above that, we're looking for as high as 9030 or 9020 by the end of this month. Ideally, we stay above the 50-day line, 8692, and the floor of the recent range just above that. Hopefully, we can do that. The positive here in terms of the RSI is that we've had an RSI 50 rebound. That's normally a leading indicator on the upside. And with the 50 and 200 day lines rising well over the near term, hopefully we will get that big breakout towards the 9,000 area. Moving along to the DAX, and here, slightly disappointing. Looks like this market wants to test for support again, 23,500, the old March resistance rather, and 23,500 also the 50-day line. The RSI at 52, so it is half full here, and we are still looking for up to 25,000 at the top of last year's trend channel by the end of this month. Moving along to the Dow, and here the picture is of market heading for the stars. It looks like the tariff situation seems to have blown itself out. We've got a rising trend channel there from May last year. We've cleared the old March resistance of 44,000. Above that, looking not only for 45,000, which is the highs of the last 8 months or so, but also the top of that channel there, 47,500, perhaps as soon as the end of next month. Worst case scenarios, we'll be able to test the initial June resistance around 43,000 before we head higher again, but we had a double RSI rebound in the middle to latter part of last month, so a leading indicator on the upside. That has worked. Final point to note is that the 50 and 200 day lines are both rising. Probably get a golden cross there within the next 2 weeks, and the run up to a golden cross tends to be the strongest part of the cycle, so that market has got it going on at the moment. Moving along to Bitcoin, and here, even though everyone and their mother is buying Bitcoin for treasury purposes, this market hasn't delivered the big breakout or the big breakthrough that maybe we were hoping for. Still, we are bouncing at and just below the 50-day line, which is rising, looking for a break of that 109 level, which is a May resistance line. If we get through that, which we've tried to do a couple of times already and failed, then we are looking for up to 125,000, top of that rising trend channel from March last year. I suppose by the end of next month, but we're lucky and we get a quick breakthrough in the next few days through 109 by the end of this month. Hopefully the 2 month logjam will then be broken. Next on the list is gold, and here there has been a rug pull after various attempts at breaking to the upside. Here we've got an April resistance line there, that's through around 34.45, and I've kept the rising March trend channel in there. It was always too steep, but still looks as though we're back. Well, looks as though we're back in that channel, 33.20, and back above the 50-day line. So initial target here, whatever happens, hopefully towards 34.45. Even though at the moment the top of the channel there towards 3800 looks a little bit ambitious to be a target for the end of this month. RSI back above neutral 50, which is also a help, and it looks as though we already had our bear trap rebound from below 32.30 to get us on our way. Moving on to the stocks, and staying with the gold theme, we've got Ariana here, which don't really like looking at because it's not exactly been covered itself in glory over the recent past, but it looks as though we've got a bull flag, we've got a gap, unfilled gap to the upside within that bull flag. We've also got the 50-day line rising near the lows, and I suppose the big move higher at the end of last month was an unfilled gap to the upside off the low, so that is another signal. Looking for a minimum move here to 1.75 pence, which is the top of the range, the top of the gap, and also the 200-day moving average. Hopefully that'll happen sometime later this month while we're above recent support around 1.25 pence. So above 1.25, looking for 1.75. Bluebird mining looks as though it's ready to have another push to the upside. You can see these shares found support at the old target there around 105 and are bouncing well. We've got a golden cross as well between the 50 and 200-day lines, which is always nice. It's just psychological. So above 105, looking for 2.2 pence, hopefully by the end of this month. That's the upper parallel of that broadening triangle from October. RSI's bounced above neutral 50, so that's a second major RSI rebound we've had over the last month, so looking good on that front. Moving on to Cobra, which had some disposal news, and here you can see the market responding well. We had the target there around 1.5 pence, above 1.5. Looking for 2.1 pence by the end of this month, which hopefully the shares will do quite easily. It looks as though we're actually going to have a decent turnaround. Can't rule out 3 pence by the end of next month, but let's see if we can get to 2.1 in decent time. The other point to note was that extended RSI 50 rebound, which was the leading indicator on the up move that we've had from 1.45 in the last few days. Another stock which has delivered the goods, albeit slightly belatedly, is CapEx. And here we had our initial target there, 0.2 pence. Above that, we were going for broke and going for 0.45. And even though that's rather ambitious, still looking for that by the end of this month, while we remain above the old resistance on the way down, which was around a quarter of a penny. So above 0.25, we could make it to 0.45 by the end of this month. The other point to note is that we've had multiple RSI rebounds since the end of May at and around the neutral 50 level. So they have worked as leading indicators on the upside. Next on the list is Catenai, which seems to have digested the 1.6 million fundraise to buy Bitcoin over, I think it was last week. Here you can see that the shares are in this falling trend channel, but 0.35, the key level. You can get a few end-of-day closes above that to show that we've sort of digested the churn. Then the target here up to 0.55 by the end of next month. So above 0.3, looking for 0.55 there. If you're cautious, you wait for an end-of-day close of the RSI above neutral, back above neutral 50 versus 47 at the moment. Another charting winner has been Mast, and here you can see that we are stretching for new highs here. This is the we managed to get to the third target there, which was 0.9, and looking for a final target there up to as high as 1.6 pence. We're looking for that by the end of this month, which looks as though it should be relatively easy. RSI has not been below neutral 50 since the beginning of May rather. So multiple bounces there, looking very, very strong, and V-shaped bull flag looks like a continuation signal towards that 1.6 level, which currently looks like the minimum while we're above 1.3 pence. On to Smarter Web, which has rebounded as we wanted it to. 255 was the level to break. I think I said that yesterday. A bit of gossip around Michael Saylor of MicroStrategy fame regarding this company, but obviously I wouldn't want to spread gossip around. But above 255, probably looking for the resistance on the way up. So towards, I suppose, 350 to £4 possible while we're above 255. And looking for that to be achieved, 350 to £4 by the end of this month. RSI at 57, which is 56 now, which is perfect for a potential move to the upside within that rising trend channel. Top of that channel there, up to £6, but let's not get carried away too early. On to Thruvision, where it seems that one or two people had very accurate insight into the fortunes of the company, and here we've had a unfilled gap to the upside after a bear trap rebound from below May support there, and in fact it's actually just a double bottom. And above the 50-day line there at 1.4 pence, looking for the top of the range, 2.5 pence over the next couple of weeks. But the key here is staying above that 50-day line. On to United Oil and Gas, which had a decent run last month, a very decent run. It looks as though we are trying to find a floor. We found a floor here around 0.16, and looking for the shares still to get up to 0.3 pence, hopefully by the end of this month, although that might be pushing it. If you're cautious, you wait for a break of that resistance line there around the 0.2 pence level before assuming that we are on our way. But we have had, I suppose, effectively 2 RSI rebounds at neutral 50. So looking decent there, especially given the way that we found support over the latter part of June at old May resistance. So that tends to add up in bullish situations. Moving on to Venture Life, which I don't think anybody looks at apart from the charting thing here. Here you can see that we have hit the top of that rising trend channel there from 2023 at 59 pence. End of day close above 59 pence. Could get a new leg to the upside to 80 pence and hit that by the end of this month. Looks as though there isn't much resistance here between basically 60 pence and a pound. But let's see if the shares are aware of that particular scenario. Next on the list is Westminster Group, which has gapped up not only once but twice in the recent past. Well, basically this week. We've got our target line there, 2.75 pence, above 2.75 pence on an end of day close basis, looking up to 4 pence plus by the end of next month, giving it a bit of time. And that upside valid while we hold above the 2.5 pence area, which was initial June resistance. Finishing off with Xtract Resources, which is trying to bounce in a sort of mid-range bounce around 3/4 of a pence. Above 3.75, we're looking for 1.1, 1.2 pence, hopefully by the end of this month. I think we had news regarding Silver King yesterday, so maybe that is helping the cause in terms of the 14% rise for the shares that we've seen so far today. That's it from me today. More updates tomorrow.